safe. Alright, so I added these strips to strengthen the mount for the front spool on this thing because the chain's going to be pulling it this way. So I added all this stuff to keep it from flexing and everything. So I'll be honest, I don't like the look of this. It looks weird, it looks goofy, but I really could not figure out a better way to do this that didn't involve a bunch of tubing or more plate steel than this. This was pretty much the easiest way that I could think of on how to do this, is just use a bunch of 1-inch wide by 3/16 steel strips. So it looks a little weird. I don't really like it, but it should get the job done. Is this right? I don't think this is right. This is. I was about to say, like, that doesn't look right. That is at an extreme angle. And I looked at my pictures, and sure enough, I switched the bottom A-arms. I switched the right with the left. So let me switch them back, and yeah, I knew something looked off. That looks better. Yeah. I knew something looked off. Alright, so we're finally lengthening these CV axles and welding them together. It's about an 8.25 inch span between these two. The only round stock that I have is this 1.25 inch cold rolled steel. All the other round stock I have is either hot rolled or some unknown alloy, or it's either free machine steel, which machine's great, but then it welds like crap. So can't use that. We need this to be as strong as possible, so we're using cold rolled steel. We're just gonna have to machine this down a little bit, which is not gonna take that long. So I tried to make it to where the bevels aren't super wide because I ended up doing that for the mini rock crawler project. I did like a 40-degree bevel, like a 35 or 40-degree bevel, and it just turned into a ton of welding. It took me hours and hours to do that. So this time I tried to make the bevels a lot more shallow. So hopefully they're gonna be strong enough and not take forever to weld. So let's machine these down, cut them to size, put bevels on these, and then we can weld them in place. Whoops. My arch nemesis, porosity. Now I have it on both. Great. Yep, having some porosity issues on that side. I was able to grind it out, and then I cleaned it up a lot more. I put my blowtorch on there to try and burn off any oil or grease in case that was the issue. I changed to new tungsten to see if that was the issue. I also closed the doors because there was a breeze coming through. Maybe that's causing it. But I was able to add more metal to that without any more porosity. So maybe that's gone. Hopefully I have no more porosity issues on that side. We may have some more on this side until I figure it out. But yeah. My old arch nemesis of porosity. Is the metal dirty? Is the filler metal dirty? Is my tungsten dirty? Is there a breeze blowing all my argon away? I don't know. Just try to clean everything. New tungsten. That seems to solve the issues. Yeah, I'm so tired of porosity. It is the most annoying thing when you are welding to just have porosity and have no idea why it's causing it or how to fix it. You just end up trying a bunch of things until eventually it's like, okay, I think it's gone. I think we solved it. So I'm letting that cool down now, and I'm gonna start working on this side. Alright, so I need to make sure that as I'm welding this, it's still running true and it's not wobbling like crazy. And it's a little hard to do that when it's got this much play in it. So I'm going to install the pneumatic locking hubs that we have. And I made it to where it is locked, so we can spin it with this as well. So I think you're just supposed to Ideally, I should grease this, but it's not final assembly. Yeah, I think it's just supposed to slide it on. Push it on, locks in place. And look at that. It's now spinning with this. It got rid of that play. Nice. Now this spins this. Yeah, we can see that this is off a little bit, and this one, that one's actually pretty good, so. Nice. Alright, that is it. That is the last weld that I have to do. That was a lot. Holy crap. A day and a half to weld this stuff. But yeah, it's now finally done. The axle like barely moves when I'm turning this thing. So I got that dimension pretty much perfect. Alright, I'm curious how much run out this thing has now that we welded it, so. Look at that! Holy crap, what is that, like 10? Probably 12 thou. That is not bad, you gotta admit that. That is not bad. Alright, let's check the other side. Not as great as the other side. What is that, 20, like 20 thou? 22 thou? So, yeah, not as great as the other side, but still not that bad, you gotta admit. That's pretty impressive. You can hear the boot making some noise, but at full lock, it can still turn. Full lock the other side, can still turn. Now, it's a question of, do I sleeve weld over the welds that I put on here? I'm fairly confident that this is going to be strong enough. It's just if I sleeve weld these, then I'm very confident it is going to be strong enough because I'm not sure how I affected the temper of this metal by heating it up, letting it cool down, heating it up again, letting it cool down multiple times for, I think I did probably 7 passes on each of these, so that's 7 times letting it heat up and cool down again. So I'm not really sure how much I affected the temper of this. Yeah, I may sleeve weld these just for GP because, you know, while it wouldn't be the end of the world if these did break because these are only for 4-wheel drive, as long as I'm not on a trail that I need 4-wheel drive to get out of there, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I could just put it in 2-wheel drive and drive out of there, but it would be annoying because I did spend a lot of time making these, so I don't know. I may just sleeve weld these just for peace of mind, but I'll do it later. I'm a little tired of working on these. I need to work on something else for now. Let's start working on the jack shaft and getting that finalized. Now, we need to cut this to length as well as machine all the keyways on this jack shaft. So we first need to figure out exactly where all the keyways need to be. So we need to reassemble all the rear suspension so we can figure out where everything needs to go. find the best way to line up a sprocket is just with an eyeball. Just eyeball both edges and make sure it lines up with both edges on the other sprocket, and it's gonna be close enough to be good enough. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It just has to be close enough. Alright, so all the bearings and all the sprockets marked. Now just disassemble it. There we go. Alright, one set of keyways is done. I'm using these blocks that I made for when I had to do this for the CBR 1000 project. I made 2 of these blocks that clamp on here. This allows me to index these perfectly in all 4 corners, or all 4, you know, angles. Yeah, 1 set down, 3 more to go, plus 1 more keyway for the brake disc. So that's 8, 12, that's 13 more keyways. So yeah, it is going to take me a little. I'm not going to bother filming the rest because it's just really repetitive work, so I'll come back when it's done. Alright, so we finished machining the keyways into the jack shaft, so next we have to broach the keyways into all of these hubs. Now these hubs need 4 keyways each, so that is a total of 16 keyways we need to broach in this stuff. This may take a little while. Now, I bought one of these air over hydraulic bottle jacks, whatever the heck these things are called, just air bottle jacks, I don't know. But hopefully this will make it a lot faster to broach these keyways so we don't have to sit there manually pumping this thing. And hopefully my air compressor is big enough to run this without having to wait for it to refill every 5 minutes, or like 3 minutes or something. So yeah, hopefully this is going to make it a lot easier to broach all these keyways. So I really want to fix how much play this thing has in here. Yeah, it's super obnoxious. So alright, that is a lot better. Hopefully it doesn't cause any binding issues, but I don't think it should. hopefully the air part works on this thing. It kind of works. It's a little slower than I thought. I wonder how much air this consumes while doing this. I have a feeling my air compressor is going to be running non-stop when using this. Alright, there goes nothing. Alright, we were able to broach all the keyways. Yeah, my air compressor is not big enough to be able to run that air bottle jack full time, but it definitely helped using it a little bit here and there. Definitely made it a little bit faster to broach all the keyways and a little bit easier. Now, before we install this, we need to modify the keyways for this. This is how we're going to be engaging and disengaging four-wheel drive for this project. So we need to slightly modify the keyways to where they tuck underneath the bearings on either end to get them to stay in place. So once we modify these and cut them to length, then we can start reassembling this thing. Check it out. So I had to figure out a way to hold these keyways into place because I've had that happen in the past of when a setup like this, when it spins really fast, the keyways try to fly out and then it kind of binds up and doesn't really allow this thing to slide back and forth. With this one, really wanted to make sure that nothing happens to where this binds up. So basically, I just machined the keyways a little bit longer, and then the first 200 thou on either end, I machined it down a little bit and then filed it flat with the surface of the jack shaft. So therefore these can sit flush just like that, and the bearings actually slide over them, holding them into place. So therefore this, just like that. So therefore this can slide back and forth easily and engage and disengage. With this, that's going to be going to the front spool for four-wheel drive and everything. Yeah, that turned out pretty good, so hopefully that's going to work and not have any issues with binding or anything. So now, jack shaft is now done with all the keyways and everything. So let's put this thing back in the frame and put the rear suspension back into place. So trying to get all 4 of these keyways to perfectly line up with each other was a bit of pain, so I had to spend some time filing a lot to get this to actually work. Boom! Nice. And there's only a tiny bit of play in there. Awesome. So, everything is now working, everything's spinning, so I want to put the tires on to see what that looks like. Alright, check it out. So this is 2-wheel drive. And now it's in 4-wheel drive. Two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive. Ow. Ah, that hurt. Okay, maybe stop doing that. This thing's starting to get a little warm. So, and also the battery's now dead. So, I think that's enough of that. Alright, things are now finally moving. It's starting to look like it's coming to life. Now, we still have a lot of stuff we need to do. Some things we need to do to the drivetrain. We need to add like the chain guides to get it to where the chain isn't hitting the frame and making that obnoxious noise. We need to add the chain guides to the center chain to get it to where that's not going to be flopping around everywhere. We definitely don't want the center chain skipping off of the sprocket on either end and falling off. That would not be good. So, as well as we need to add brake calipers, we need to add the shifting mechanism for the four-wheel drive to get that to where we can shift it. We need to add, somehow, we're going to have to hook up the pneumatic locking mechanism, the locking hubs. We have to figure out how to get those to work. Also need to finish the tie rods, the steering. There's a lot of stuff we need to do before we can start working on trying to get this engine running, but This thing slowly is looking like it's starting to turn into something. Every video that we do is just getting closer and closer to finally being able to take this thing on our first test drive. But there's still, I hate to say this, there's still a lot of stuff we gotta do before we can get to that point. But anyway, guess that's it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see ya in the next video. Whoa. Okay, that's totally random. Wow, that's totally random. Just a snake. Get out of here. Little black snake. I think they're harmless. I hope so. It's kind of funny how many people I've had who have seen this temporary setup with this angle iron on here and just look at me like, that angle iron is not gonna, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna survive being twisted. And I'm like, I know, it's temporary. I don't expect angle iron to be able to withstand any twisting. It's temporary just to mock this thing up until we can do what we're about to do. And it's, yeah. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny that people will look at that and not think that, oh, that's just temporary. They'll think like, oh, I'm an idiot and I think that that's going to work. When it's like, no, I'm still building this. I'm still in the process, so that is temporary. I don't expect angle iron to be able to withstand twisting of a CV axle. So, whatever.